Hello, Gaston County. Welcome to episode number 58 of Gaston's Great, a podcast highlighting some of the great things happening in and around Gaston County. I'm your host, Stephen Long, and we are coming to you once again from the international headquarters of GSM Services as we look forward to having some great discussions in the coming weeks and months. We are highlighting another great organization this week and have Ashley Anderson, Samantha, and David with us. Ashley is the local program coordinator for the Special Olympics Gaston County, and Samantha and David are two of the star athletes. So Ashley, Samantha, and David, it's great to have you on, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to get right to it. Maybe we'll start with you, Ashley. Can you just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself? Anything you'd like to share for our listeners?
Yeah. So I've been the local program coordinator for about 7 years here in Gaston County. I've been coaching for over 15 years with Special Olympics. Full-time, I actually just switched. I'm a doctorate student at UNC Charlotte in special education, but I was a special ed teacher for 10 years. So I have a little bit of a role shift, but with Special Olympics, I'm the local coordinator here, and I volunteer my time, about 20 to 40, whatever number of hours a week.
Sure.
All of our roles are volunteer based. So doing that kind of, on the side.
Okay. Very good. Samantha, what about you? Anything you'd like to share for our listeners? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I like to play competitive sports.
Okay. What's your favorite sport?
Softball and swimming.
Softball and swimming. Wow. That's some difficult stuff. I've tried to hit a softball one time. I was a baseball player growing up, and softball's kind of hard. David, what about you?
Hey, yeah, my name's David, and one of my favorite two sports is softball and bowling, and I'm very good at bowling and softball. I started playing softball for Special Olympics back in the early 90s.
Okay.
And I've been playing softball ever since. And I transitioned to bowling a little bit. My highest game I have for bowling so far is a 262.
Did you hear everybody hear that out there? I got news for David. I have never seen myself with a 262 score in bowling. That's unbelievable. That's terrific. Wow. So we do have some celebrity athletes here on the show today. So Ashley, maybe come back to you. Kind of just like we were talking beforehand, I think most of our listeners have probably heard of Special Olympics. Kind of just give us some background, maybe history or whatever you want to share about, Special Olympics Gaston County. What's the mission? What are you trying to, accomplish? And just some general information.
Definitely. So Special Olympics, Gaston County, we are one of the, I wouldn't say sub-counties, like basically we run under the mission of Special Olympics North Carolina. There's a kind of like a hierarchy to Special Olympics, so it's run based on our program, but we go under the rules and governance of the state, and then athletes have the opportunity to go even higher than that as well. They could go to, USA Games, World Games, things like that. So our mission here locally is to provide all of our athletes with opportunities for sports, competition, social engagement, and just, overall growth in whatever they do. So the overall mission of Special Olympics is to provide sports and opportunities for individuals with intellectual disabilities. So our programs here that we offer locally, go alongside that mission. It could be a sports team, it could be a social engagement, a leadership opportunity, just something we're doing for the athletes, fundraising, things like that. So we want to be able to provide as many opportunities for them as we can locally, and then give them opportunities, to grow and do things outside of just Gaston County as well.
Okay. So I think as a novice, having heard of Special Olympics, can you kind of describe what's going on throughout the year? Is it like a one-time big event, or are there things going on month to month? I think some of us novices would have this image that the Special Olympics happens once a year, and then that's it, and there's nothing else going on.
That's like literally one of my favorite things to answer for people, because a lot of people think, it's that one-day event, that's track and field at that one high school, and it's not just our county. It's like every county across the state. and this happens to everybody, but what we want everyone to know is it's not that just that one-time event.
Right.
So we have a local planning committee, all volunteer-based again, that we meet regularly. We meet monthly, excuse me, and we go through all of our events. We offer sports year-round. We have over 12 sports that we offer, trying to, get more right now. But these sports, in addition to the, those one-day events that a lot of people know about, we offer those sports year-round. Athletes have to go through 8-week training or more in those sports to be able to go to competition. That could be local competition, state-level competition, what have you. But then we also offer those local events because we do realize some of the athletes, can't participate in those 8-week training. That might be too much. So we do have local events as well. We have fall games. We have a winter basketball event that's unified. We have spring games. And then we also offer various events throughout, mixed in between that as well. So, yeah, definitely I want everyone to know it's not just one time. It happens year-round. We're always training, always providing sports opportunities. So.
Okay, so Samantha, for you, what you mentioned that softball and swimming was your favorite. So is this something that you're doing year-round, or how often are you participating in some of the supporting events?
I've been doing softball for like 3 or 4 years.
Okay. So you play a certain position?
I play outfield and batting.
So are you the all-star of the team? No. You got a lot of good teammates?
Yeah.
Okay, so how often are they playing, say, softball throughout the year? Is it
once a week?
Once a week. Yeah. Okay, wow. Where are y'all playing?
Like
local schools or
on a field.
Okay. Where are they?
So we partner with a lot of community just resources.
Yeah.
So we use sometimes we use the school system, and we use some of their fields, like the softball practices actually start tomorrow night for this fall season at Forest View.
Oh, okay.
And then we partner with Parks and Rec, with the county, with some YMCA's. So we have a lot of different places that allow us to use their facilities.
Yeah, my kids, still have one there, but all our kids went through Forest View.
Yep.
So David, what about you? You mentioned softball and bowling. Is that correct? Yes. Sounds like it sounds like, are you the best bowler around here for of all the athletes? You don't. It's okay if you don't want to brag. That's okay.
I'm thinking. I know I am the 6th highest bowler.
Oh wow! So how often are you doing that?
I go almost every Monday.
Okay.
To the bowling alley. Then, like Ashley said, we'll start softball back tomorrow night at Forest View.
Okay, and you're doing that as well. Okay.
I'm a very good cleanup hitter.
Oh, I bet.
I'm one of the power hitters for the softball team.
So do you play in the field as well, or?
Right now, I've been playing the infield.
Okay, very good. So do you guys? I'm assuming you guys enjoy that and hanging out with your teammates and just having those activities to do on a week-to-week basis.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's good to hear that because, like I said earlier, I had no idea that it was something that was done on a weekly basis. So this is kind of going to be for all of you, but Ashley, maybe start with you. Can you talk about some of the, I'm not sure the best word, some of the successes or impacts you've seen with, Special Olympics over your time with the organization, and what are you most proud of accomplishing or seeing accomplished here locally?
Yeah. So I would say that we have a lot of successes, or at least, in the last couple of years. And David, he's been playing since, the 90s.
Wow.
I think one of our best successes is just seeing our athletes be, for lack of a better word, successful in their sports. And that could be over time. That could be, they came out and they tried just one sport and they were really successful that season and it made them happy. So I think that longevity of participation and then, them just being successful and trying something new as well. I think that's a great attribute to, what Special Olympics does. I think another one of our successes is just in growth. So we're able to reach more athletes. And I wouldn't say this is like over a certain period of time or, just anything like that, but just being able to reach athletes and allowing them those opportunities. You have no idea how many athletes are like, oh my God, I didn't know we could do this, or
Sure.
I didn't know I'd be really good at that sport. I'm so glad I came out, and even if it's not a sporting thing, we try to offer some social opportunities and just recreational play and things like that where athletes can get together. And I mean, they'll put it on their calendar, 2 months in advance and save the date. Like it's amazing, like the community that, all of our athletes and families kind of have. So I'd say that is a huge success for what Special Olympics does as well. And then lastly, I'd say for our group of, volunteers is a huge success. So Special Olympics is, here locally, it's all volunteer based. And
Right.
I just want to, thank all of our volunteers, people who plan, people who, put things in place. Our coaches are all volunteers, even people who just come out for those one-day big events. Like we couldn't run events without that. So I'd say the number of people that we're able to reach with, the volunteer opportunities is great too, because then they get to meet some of our amazing athletes and they're like,
Right.
I didn't know I could work in this field or be in this field. And, you just get everyone kind of surrounded by that, and then they're like, this is amazing,
Right.
this work is great, these individuals, everyone is just so wonderful, like so just bringing awareness to this field and the population and things that we're offering, I think that's also a huge success.
So on a typical, I don't know the time frame, how many athletes are you guys working with or supporting on a week-to-week basis, yearly? I mean, whatever. I don't know if you have that.
So registered athletes, we technically have around 700 athletes in Gaston County.
Oh, wow.
That's anyone from age 2 to 9,900.
Okay.
There's no cutoff. But on a weekly basis with practice, so we run our sports programs in seasons also. So they were talking about softball just about to start and things like that. So, in a typical season, we'll have about 5-6 sports running, just depends on the season. And we'll reach about 100 athletes through those programs, give or take some. But then with our other programs and training, like our local opportunities, we'll reach, hundreds more.
Gotcha.
It just really depends on what the athletes are looking for and then what they register for and sign up. So.
What about coaches, volunteers? And you mentioned that what do you coach?
Yeah, so I coach soccer and volleyball.
Okay.
And so, all of our volunteers, coaches, they do have to go through a training.
Right.
So some people don't know that. They go through training. Some is online and some is in person.
You're just not pulling the dad like me off the street like we did at church,
Right.
at church
Right.
youth, right?
Yeah. So all of our volunteers do have to go through a background process and everything.
Sure.
But for our coaches, they do have to go through some training. So they are, ready to interact with the athletes. It's safe. They know, what the sports season's supposed to look like, things like that. But we're always looking for coaches, and we're very grateful that we have our coaches, our assistant coaches, some volunteers. We have siblings sometimes come out and volunteer to help and be coaches,
Sure.
and that's just awesome as well.
So before we finish, one thing we'll make sure to do is let you talk about how can people get in touch with the organization, volunteer, and things like that. So we'll make sure we cover that. So guys, going to you, Samantha, you and David, maybe Samantha, can you, thinking back, you recall maybe a favorite moment or whether it was swimming or softball or anything that you can recall, a favorite day that you've had with doing one of the sports?
To
It's kind of a tough question.
like in any sports you should be happy with.
That's true. Yeah, like we said right before the podcast, I wish I could remember exactly what the comment you said, Samantha. I should have wrote that down, but you've got a lot of insight. David, what about you? Can you recall something?
My favorite year is 2004 from softball when we were undefeated from 2004 to 2006.
Good gracious! So, so when you have a season like that, does the team go on and do something else, or is it just here locally? Or
no, we go to state games in Raleigh.
Okay.
And play against the tougher teams like from Wake County or Charlotte-Mecklenburg or Orange County.
Wow.
And
were you the cleanup all-star cleanup hitter on that team? Those teams as well.
I was one of them, but my friend David Russian and Billy and Charlie and Tony were the other three cleanup hitters too.
So is it fair to say that you guys have kind of developed some friendships through the sports
We have.
that you've played?
We have. Me and David Russian. Actually, we play together on the Carolina Fireflies baseball team right now.
Wow.
Yeah, I do that too. I
Okay.
play on Fireflies.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic.
I have a great moment for Sam, if it's okay.
Absolutely.
Sam,
Please.
you remember that award you won last year?
I won the, what is it?
Jonathan Henley Athlete Award.
I won Jonathan Athlete Award. I won a plaque.
So the Athlete of the Year award or something?
It
or
is, yeah. So
Okay.
we created last year an award in memory of one of our athletes who passed away. His name was Jonathan Henley, and so last year was the first award given out at one of our local competitions. And so it's Athlete of the Year. They had to be nominated. They had to go through like a voting process, and Samantha actually won last
Wow.
year, the very first award. So
was that pretty cool?
Yeah. Mama, I was surprised.
So yeah, I know. Even for me, at age 52, recognition of some kind is still pretty cool, even for me. So maybe Ashley, kind of looking ahead, how do you see the future of Special Olympics Gaston County looking? 5 to 10 years down the road, I mean, are y'all at capacity where it's just difficult to take on more athletes, or are you
no.
okay?
Yeah, so we always have more athletes interested, and I mean, athletes, families, everyone goes through changes. So you may play one sport one season, you may change your mind. So I think there'll definitely be some change for Special Olympics, just like with any other organization in years to come. Sometimes sports change seasons, so
Oh, sure.
that they're offered. So there'll definitely be some change to come, but we're not at capacity. Like we're always have new athletes registering, finding programs and things that they're interested in. Some of our initiatives that we're working on for this year, we want to bring back some of our programs that we haven't had since COVID in person. So that's one thing. We also want to offer some more young athletes training. That's a program for athletes and individuals without disabilities, like siblings, friends, ages 2 to 7. Right now we offer limited training for that, and then we have like a big celebration day. So we want to add some more training in for that. This year is one of our initiatives. And we also want to do more with our Unified Champion schools. I see us, really getting more heavily involved with that. That is a program through the state, through Special Olympics North Carolina, that's offered within our school system. And schools can sign up, and it basically promotes inclusive activities. So people with and without disabilities, being engaged in the schools, being engaged in the whole school environment, sports, leadership, things like that. So I definitely see us like growing in that area, and continuing to better support our classes and schools that are already engaged.
Is that
and
something
signed up.
that you do with Gaston County schools here locally?
Yeah,
Or?
yeah. So we currently have like 10 schools signed up, and it's one of the highest, rates of participation actually across the state. But we want to continue to make it better, improve, and support them.
Is that high school, elementary school, middle school?
All schools.
All schools?
All schools,
Okay.
yep. And then it's also college level. Belmont Abbey has been signed up in the past. We're working on getting Gaston College signed up. So, some of those opportunities that may not be just sports, I see us continuing to grow in that area too.
So, yeah, go ahead, Samantha.
I remember what I said earlier.
Oh, okay.
The smaller group, like small groups.
Yep.
And then it becomes bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
in the
something small
future.
can become bigger and better.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very good. Actually, I am going to write that down because I'll forget it if I don't. So, Samantha, kind of, if you're looking ahead, are there any sports or any other type of sports you think you might like to try in the future? Or
I would like horseback riding and other
horseback
stuff.
riding?
I did that long time ago in a different county.
Okay. So, are you a fan of horses?
I like to take care of animals.
Oh,
and
okay.
I like it's fun and helps with the anxiety and stuff.
Sure. Yeah, we've had a couple organizations on that do just that. Bit of Hope Ranch and sorry? Yeah, Bunny Blessings. I don't know if you're
that's
familiar
cute.
with that. Yeah.
I've been at Bit of Hopes.
Yep.
Thing, and it's nice area.
It's a cool place, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I've been out there myself. David, what about you? Are there any other sports you think you might like to try, or are you just good dominating softball and bowling?
Maybe in the future I'll probably try volleyball.
Okay. Yeah, volleyball is a tough sport. I haven't done it in a long time, but when I was younger, I did, and that's why I stuck to baseball. Volleyball was a little more than I could handle. So, Ashley, this is a question I like, and you really have already covered it, but I'm going to ask it again anyway, and it may be a different. Maybe you can't come up with a slightly different way to view it. But why would you say Gaston County is a better place because Special Olympics is here?
So I'd say it's a better place because of Special Olympics, just because of our athletes.
Yeah.
I mean, our athletes are amazing, as you can tell. We have 2 athletes here. Just doing this podcast to get awareness out about Special Olympics, and it's not just Special Olympics. It's other organizations that also, support individuals with intellectual disabilities in our community. So we're just literally one part of that.
Right.
But the services that we provide, what we put in place, the things that volunteers do with Special Olympics, I think is so important because our athletes can create this sense of, friendship, sense of belonging within the sports and activities that they do. And for us to be able to provide that for them, it just leads to such a better quality of life. And I mean, we've never had a volunteer come out and be like, oh no, I didn't enjoy my day.
Right.
My interactions were just so amazing. Like everyone just always has such a good time, working with our athletes, no matter, what age or what ability level. So I think that it definitely, opens everyone's eyes and then also improves our athletes, life too.
Yeah. My involvement in the community, my experience is that often the volunteers get more out of it often than, than maybe the organization that you're actually working with. So, sometimes, and that's what brings people back too, is when they have that good experience. So is there anything I should have asked that I haven't asked? Anything else you'd like to share about, Special Olympics, Gaston County? We'll swing back before we're finished and make sure our listeners know how to get in touch with you guys or volunteer, donate, whatever our listeners can do. But is there anything that I haven't asked or anything else you'd like to share before we get into some of these other shorter questions here? No? Okay.
David, anything?
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Sam?
I can't think.
The only thing I think of is people will enjoy Special Olympics if they would come out and do it. It's a very good experience, and you get to go to state games and compete on a high level and win gold, silver, bronze medal in any sport. So
Okay.
it's
Yes, ma'am.
If you believe in yourself to do stuff in Special Olympics, then you can achieve it.
That's fantastic. Wow. These just continue spitting out these these quotes that I'm going to have.
Sam's very wise.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, well beyond her years.
Yes, that's terrific. So, again, I appreciate all this information, and I know our listeners are going to appreciate it and enjoy it. But we're going to shift gears real quick because this is a podcast about Gaston County. And so I'm going to ask a few questions about maybe some of your favorite things you like to do around the county. So, Ashley, I'm going to start with you, and I'm going to kind of phrase this question in 2 ways. First, are you a Tony's ice cream person? And if yes, what's your favorite flavor?
Yes. I think there's like a chocolate cherry or something. Or there's
could be.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't been there in like 2 months. I'm trying to do better on like healthy eating and managing.
Just 2 months is pretty good.
Yeah. So I think there's like a chocolate cherry, if not just regular chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Samantha, what about you? Favorite ice cream, or if you ever been to Tony's, is that you have a favorite there?
I've been there, but I haven't been there in like 2 years. But I think I like the coffee ice cream.
Coffee ice cream. Oh, I don't think I've ever had that. David, what about you?
Yeah, I'm Tony's, but I like the bananas.
Banana split?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, banana splits are good. All right. David, have you ever had Sundrop or Cheerwine to drink?
I have
What's your favorite between the two?
Sundrop.
Sundrop. Samantha, have you ever had those?
Cherry wine.
Cheerwine. Ashley?
Cheer one.
Cheerwine. All right. So we got You got outvoted there, David, 2-1. What about you got a favorite local restaurant, Ashley?
Oh man. Yeah, I like Milano's.
Ooh, Milano's. That's the first.
Yeah.
Yeah, good Italian local place. Samantha, do you have a local place you like to go eat?
Saki's.
Saki Express?
Yeah.
Yes, that's really good. Unfortunately, there's one on the way home, so I stopped by there more than I should. David, what about you?
Bubba's.
Ooh, yeah, that's very good. Out near Franklin Square, is that what you're talking about?
I like that place too.
Yeah, Bubba's like a number. Bubba's something.
55 or something.
50, yeah, something like that, yeah.
That's my favorite sit-down restaurant.
Oh, okay. Very good. I think they've got good burgers there. David, what besides, maybe this is maybe an unfair question, besides the sports you do with Special Olympics, what's your favorite thing to do around Gaston County?
I like to volunteer around in the community.
Okay.
Like last week, three Tuesdays of last week, we ran low and did a national night out in my church, and we volunteered up there and gave out flyers, got to meet most of the community.
Oh, wow, that's good. Very good. Samantha, you have anything you like to do around Gaston County?
I like to do regular cheerleading, like for another disability team.
Okay.
And I like to do Miss Amazing pageants.
Yes. Did I hear earlier that you had won one maybe here locally?
I won Miss Amazing Teen Queen for 2017 in Concord.
Oh, wow.
I won 2 going to nationals in Chicago.
Yes, that's a pretty good accomplishment there. Ashley, what about you? The favorite maybe outdoor activity or thing you like to do around Gaston
I just
County?
like to spend time outside. And then most of the time, I'll be honest, I'm working. So just find community activities to get involved in. So
Okay. So this might be a tough question because we've talked about so many things already. But Ashley, maybe start with you. What is something very few people know about you?
about me?
Yes.
Okay, probably if you know me, you would know, but I'm a twin.
Oh, okay.
So that's a very interesting fact. And my sister and I.
Are you identical twins?
We don't know.
Okay.
We actually just went to, this is our first time ever going to Twinsburg, Ohio a couple weeks ago to a Twin Fest.
Oh, wow.
So,
never heard of that. That's good.
Yeah, it was really cool, like all sets of twins. It was really neat. But yeah, so I'm a twin. My sister is also a coach with Special Olympics. You know,
Okay.
we basically do everything together. And so she's on our committee, kind of like second in command. She does everything. So yeah, if you know me, you would know that. But if you don't, then that's a very interesting fact. You probably would get us mixed up.
Okay, very good. I appreciate you sharing that. Samantha, what about you? I know that's kind of a strange question, but I like to ask that question. There's anything that something that few people know about you that you'd like to share?
I'm a very adventurous person, and I like to study about syndromes in the oceans and random like facts and stuff.
Wow, that's cool. David, what about you? Is that
I'm a nature person. I love hiking.
Okay.
And I love helping a lot of people.
We got a lot of good places to hike around here, don't we?
We do.
It's kind of unusual not to be.
My favorite places to hike is South Mountain. Always going.
Oh,
hiking up
South
to the
Mountain's great.
fountains,
Yeah.
The falls, I mean.
And it's it's 45 minutes to an hour from here. Yeah, it's a
and I do
South
love
Mountain.
helping people when they come out and need help.
Well, that's great to hear. So I appreciate that. So we're going to finish up here with just a couple more questions. And again, to go back to you, Ashley. So again, it's kind of sticking with the Gaston County theme and Gaston being such a great place. Besides Special Olympics, why would you say Gaston County is such a great place?
I mean, Gaston County, so I actually haven't lived here my entire life. I've lived here for about 11 years. But it is just such a welcoming place. Everyone, you just create this like sense of community, I feel like, in Gaston County. And so that's why I've like stayed here for a long time. And so I just feel like there's a great sense of community. Everyone's pretty open and supportive, and it's obviously not just with Special Olympics. Like you ask people for help or volunteer, anything. Everyone's really, really supportive and very, very helpful across Gaston County.
Yeah, I've learned, if I've learned anything, nothing else from doing these podcasts, is that being able to interact and talk to so many organizations that are doing really great work here in the county, to your point. So, Samantha, how would you answer that question? Why here, living here in Gaston County? Why is it such a cool place?
I just lived here for 3 years.
Okay.
And my thought is if you moved to somewhere, there has to be a reason, like if you can change, like not change, but like teach others how to believe in stuff in themselves.
Okay. All right. So you've been able to do that here, you think, in Gaston County?
Yeah.
Very good. David, how would you answer that question? Why is Gaston County here? Because have you been here most of your life here in Gaston County?
Half of most of my life.
Okay. So why would you say Gaston County is such a cool place?
A lot of new people to meet, friends to hang out with, new teams and sports I can try.
Okay. Very good. All right, this is our last question, and it's my favorite question, and I'm gonna address it this way with Ashley. But looking back, I'm sure it's just a couple years ago. Ashley, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self, knowing what you know now?
I would first say keep on your path. You're doing the right thing. You're making a difference. Some days it's hard to keep going. But looking back, I mean, I think definitely knowing like you're definitely on the right path. You're making a difference, and also give time to yourself is always really good advice, because when you really want to keep pushing and doing great things and helping our athletes and things like that, you got to remind yourself to give time to yourself. So we try to always let our athletes know.
It's hard to help others when you
yeah.
Did I hear a little while ago someone over here named Ashley say that she works so much maybe she doesn't have time for that?
Yeah, exactly. That's always something I'm trying to remind myself of.
Sure.
So yeah, and I think it's good for us to work with our athletes to let them know that's something as part of overall good health and well-being as well.
So Samantha, I've really been waiting for this question for you, but you've already given 3 or 4 answers to this really, but I'm going to ask anyway, because looking back, maybe knowing that we have some listeners out there who might be looking forward to this answer. I mean, what kind of advice would you give to some other, maybe some other young girl out there who's listening?
I have 3 advices.
Okay.
To keep believing in yourself and never give up. And just because you're a girl doesn't mean you can't do other sports, so just never give up.
So we might just have to, can we just shut the podcast down now after that one?
I like that, Sam.
Yeah, that is really good. That is really good, Samantha. I appreciate that. David, I'm sorry you got to follow that answer.
She took my answer.
So that's okay. What would you say to that? Advice would you give to somebody younger than yourself about life or just your experience? Or
my experience is follow your beliefs.
Okay.
If you can put your mind to it, you can do it. Just believe in yourself.
Wow. Okay. I'm not sure how to respond to those, but other than I appreciate that greatly. This has really been good. So again, the main point of the podcast is to make our listeners aware of what's going on here with Special Olympics Gaston County. So where can listeners go to learn more, donate, volunteer? Are there any events coming up, that might be, available? So just let us know what you need to share there.
So we have a Facebook page. We also have a website. If you go to Special Olympics North Carolina and search our county for Gaston, you will see our webpage. We try to keep all of our newsletters. We just had a newsletter go out yesterday. Everything updated on that page. Also on our Facebook page, we have our events. We will post pictures, things like that. You can also email us. That's the best way to get in contact with us. Our email is gaston@SONC, stands for Special Olympics North Carolina. .net. And again, that's the best way to get in contact with us. We do have some upcoming events. So we just started fall sports. Well, tomorrow night is our first fall sport that's practicing. All of our athletes will go out there, they will train, and then they'll be able to go to either a local competition or a state level competition or both or whatever. So We added some new sports this fall. We actually added a cornhole league.
Oh,
and
wow.
then we are continuing with a bowling league. Our traditional bowling season is in the spring, but we're going to do like a league this fall. And both of those actually have events. We would love to have some volunteers come to both of those events. Our cornhole tournament is October 17th. It's a Monday evening, and then community members can actually pay. We just posted the flyer yesterday.
Okay.
They can pay $20 for a team of 2. They get a T-shirt. It's really more about participation. It's not fundraising.
Sure.
They can come play our athletes. We have about 14 athletes who are going to be training for 4 weeks for that tournament. We also have a bowling competition. That's not open to anyone outside of our athletes and Unified Partners, but we would love to have volunteers, and that's the day before Halloween. Here in Gastonia. So those are 2 local events.
Where's the cornhole tournament?
The cornhole's going to be at the Adult Recreation Center in Gastonia on October 17th. We also have some local games coming up. We have fall games, and that's open to our athletes. That's at the end of October, and that's in bowling. We also have our Young Athletes Day scheduled. So, again, athletes ages 2 to 7, and then any Unified Partners, siblings, friends. That's going to be October 21st, I believe, at WC Friday Middle School. So, yeah, some great events coming up. I will say we always have one big fundraiser in for the year. That's our polar plunge. People may have heard of it.
I saw something online about that.
Yeah, so that's not coming up anytime soon. It's always like in February, but I will give a little plug for that because that is a great community event. It's just a lot of fun.
Where do y'all do that at?
We've done it the last about 3 or 4 years at Lineberger Park pool, and it's just a great community event. So, and that is our biggest fundraiser for the year.
All right, well, very good. So lots going on.
Yeah,
sounds like.
definitely.
So yeah, I was on the website. It's good, and I was able to easily find information. And I checked out the Facebook page as well yesterday. I was kind of preparing for this. So, guys, I can't thank you enough for your time. This has really been good. Is there for any of you, any last words of wisdom or any last comments you'd like to make before we close this one out? Are you good?
I think what Sam said in her comment about keep believing in yourself is just a great way to summarize.
You could almost summarize maybe the mission and.
Do y'all know that? Y'all know the oath? Y'all want to tell them the oath?
I don't know.
What?
Okay, you want to do it with me?
I can.
Yeah. All right. So there's an athlete oath, and it's better coming from them. But
perfect.
Y'all want to do it together? All right. Ready? Y'all do it. Let me win.
Let me win.
But if I cannot win,
If I cannot win,
let me be brave
let me be brave
in the attempt.
in the attempt.
Great job.
Fantastic. Well, I got news for you. This is going to be a very popular episode of Gaston's Great because of you guys. And so, again, I can't thank you enough. And something that I do every week as well is kind of do a book recommendation and then maybe a quote or thought for the week. Actually, you know what? I might skip the quote and thought of the week because we've already had so many from good ones from Samantha and David. I don't need to repeat any of those. But my book recommendation this week is a gentleman that he's a historian named David McCullough, who I have read almost all of his books, but he recently just passed away is the reason that I'm picking him this week. But he wrote a great book with a North Carolina ties called about the Wright brothers, and that's the title of it, The Wright Brothers. And so I would strongly recommend if you want to study and read a really great book about everything that the Wright brothers accomplished. So again, but I'm gonna skip my quote this week because it's just not necessary. We have so many good thoughts already. So to our listeners out there, thanks so much time for taking the time to listen to today's episode. Please continue to spread the word if you can about the podcast, and please don't hesitate to contact us here at podcast@gastonsgreat.com. We are always looking for suggestions for future podcast topics and guests. You can find the podcast and subscribe at the website, gastonsgreat.com, and please follow us on our social media platforms. You can also find us and subscribe and rate the podcast on most podcast services. Thanks again to Ashley, Samantha, and David for being our guests today. Gaston's Great is produced and brought to you by Amy Anderson from GSM Services and edited here locally by the Sumner Group. I'm your host, Stephen Long. Thanks again for hanging out with us, and please keep coming back to hear more reasons why Gaston's great.